Hello everyone and welcome back to the Brightworks. Today I've got a really fun one for you, a very interesting map. This one is called Ragnarok. Oh, that's a funny little face. All right. Ragnarok. I believe it's, yeah. Ragnarok, version 1, 7v7 or FFA. Today it's going to be a 7 versus 7. What a weird map, right? Let's get into exactly how this map works. You can see that there's this mountainous region right here that's all these super spiky cliff sides, and one of the players will spawn in here. They're going to be, oh, that's interesting. Okay, so the players in here are in like a little, I don't know, I guess like a little cave system or something. They're walled in completely, so you have no choice but to go for air, I guess. Yeah, that's odd. Okay, so both teams will have one here. There's these other two players that are going to spawn on this little ramped in section here. Maybe if I shift, hold on, let me remember my hotkeys here. No, not that one, not that one. There we go. I can invert the camera here and I can show you from the other angle. Yeah, you've got these little ramps here to go up into the caved in section up here. And you can traverse all around over here. You've got a little geothermal spot with a 3.9 metal extractor. That's quite nice. Air player is probably going to be vying for control over that. Down south here, where our blue team leader is resting, you can see there's another ramped section that goes up to this little high ground here. Cordale has actually spawned very far forward here. That's interesting. We'll have to see if that pays off. And then on the other side, of course, mirrored is going to be our red team leader. All right, so very interesting little matchup here. You can see there's kind of two paths. You can go up along this path, or you can go up and then down along this path. Very interesting to see. Blue team leader, Mr. Everest, has gone for a hovercraft lab. Interesting. Looks like he's thinking about going into tidal power. Whoa, tidal power is crazy on this map. 28 tidal power. That is far and away more efficient than fusion reactors, and it may very well even be more efficient than advanced fusion reactors. I can't remember the exact number, but I think it might be around 30, something like that. I don't know. Somebody can do the math in the comments. Anyways, going up against Vanaja, who has gone for a bot lab start here. So going to get up and running a little bit quicker here and going to take slightly more efficient trades than just going up against straight up vehicles, but certainly going to have a hard time dealing with maybe counterattacks from behind or something like that. There's also this ravine down in the middle here that you can see, this kind of ravine section. Interesting to see if we'll see any maybe rocket spiders or termites or anything like that moving down through there. Another walkway on this side held by Stulfern and contested by BSR 21, so that'll be interesting to see. We have another mountain region over here with some interesting geography. We have a little bit of a ramp that leads up to this section and a little bit of ramp that leads up to this section, so those are going to be fighting. You really get 12 battles in one here. This is just immense, the amount of just power coming out of every single area. Like you're looking at a different scenario for every single one of these players interacting here. Anyways, let's switch back into default view so that the numbers aren't all upside down. Apparently the metal collection numbers, the metal wreckage pile numbers are determined by the orientation of the map, not by the orientation of the camera. So yeah, you you tend to have those numbers upside down if you leave the camera upside down. A problem that I have encountered several times already. Wow, I'm really struggling to figure out where I even want to look here. It just is all so interesting. Oh, and of course there's a naval lab down here. I forgot to mention that you can see Barcode going for that naval start down on the southern side up against Trombone 34. And of course the water wraps almost all the way around this entire map. You can get naval units all the way up sort of 3/4 of this map, which is really cool. Trims is in a lot of trouble. Trims went for that hovercraft lab, which is very metal dense, and is now going into a vehicle, or a bot lab rather, but does not have anything to defend over here. This Blitz is kind of cautiously stepping around. Finds a laser turret. Trims needs to eat up his lab immediately. Yeah, otherwise that's going to be real bad. Mr. Everest spots the 2v1, so this is an interesting misalignment of start positions here. You can see that Cordale spawned up here against no rival, whereas down south here you can see that two players spawned over here. So I think I probably would have liked to see another player spawn down in this area because there is way more metal extractors over here. But certainly, if Cordale is able to push through the middle of the map, this will be quite an interesting one to see. So we'll just have to see if this can pay out eventually. Mr. Everest in a little bit of trouble. The highest true skill player for his team, so if anyone's going to pull a rabbit out of a hat, I would expect it to be him, but certainly in for a little bit of a hard time here. Looks like he did transition out of that hovercraft lab. Just wanted to get these constructors building the naval economy. Think that's a great idea to go for that initially and then transition out of. Very, very nicely done here. Commander going to try and de-gun down some of these grunts. Not going to get too many of them, and that is going to be that all said and done. Baileytron moving up here finally, and the constructor is going to start working on a beamer turret. I really like to see those go down instead of the light laser towers. They're just infinitely more viable as a static defense, and I just think they work quite a bit better. So air labs are essentially the name of the game here. Bradley has not moved out yet. Meanwhile, Cavalier has already stepped forward, claimed a couple of his metal extractors, and is starting an advancement on this side of the map. That's quite nice. That is, if that geothermal comes up, that's definitely going to be one nice little eco boost for the pink player here, the light pink player here. But also, if any of that should run off to his team, I'm sure they'd be more than happy to have that metal in their pockets. Oh, this is funny. Crossing the cavern with rocket bots here. I love that this map is designed in such a way that you can engage on so many random fronts here. Like, firing across here with rocket bots is such a clever way of using those there. Ooh, the Janus knocks one of those bots all the way down into the cavern below. No fall damage in this game, not yet at least. So, yeah, we'll have to see maybe if that gets implemented at some point in the future. Love the aggression here, though. Forcing Mr. Everest to make some tactical moves, and the Janus is about as tactical as it gets. That thing is a powerhouse for sure. Vanaja wants to de-gun it, but he's not going to be so fortunate. A couple of grunts moving forward here. Thugs are going to try and shut them down. Thugs trade decently well against grunts, but you have to have a decent formation, and that was not the fight that I think Cordale was looking for, and a lot of those grunts do go down to that excellent D-gun there. Very, very nicely done. Yeah, I was about to say he's positioning the commander into a good spot, sort of kiting with the thugs to force those grunts into the line of the D-gun, and then using it to wipe it all out. Very nicely done. Oh, that's really risky. Oh, ABC Soup down to 1% health there for just a second. He could have blown up this entire front line, giving Trims the opportunity that he needs to get back into this game. Spatloaf and ABC Soup are 2 against 1 here. Yeah, they have every advantage in this situation. Trims does have that naval economy coming up and running from that hovercraft lab here, and since he managed to get the bot lab out and keep the hovercraft lab, I wouldn't mind seeing a rocket launcher hovercraft. The possum. Shouldn't it be the opossum? Are those 2 different creatures? Wait a minute. Am I learning because of Beyond All Reason that the possum and the opossum are 2 completely different creatures? Or is that just an American spelling of the word possum? This is gonna drive me insane. I'll go look this up after the match. Rocket bots aren't bad either. The rocket hovercraft, however, can just fire from quite a bit further away, and of course they do a little bit more damage. So against static defense, like something like this light laser turret, I think I would like to see that rocket hovercraft brought out here. I think it could do quite a bit of work. There goes the light laser tower. Spatloaf is not going to be able to hold on to that. Rockets also flying by, trying to get some sort of engagement here. That's a triple gold star laser tower. I think that was the one that was firing at ABC Soup's commander. I like that he's hold position these in the wall here so that they don't get a run by. It's very Protoss, Protoss of him. Protoss. Oh, there go those Januses though. It's a pain every time one of those fire. Or a pleasure if you're the one firing them. They do a lot of damage, in other words. They're one of those units that you just as soon as you start facing them on the battlefield, you get a little headache because they're so difficult to push into. The only effective way to push into them is to spam a whole lot of units against them, and especially if you're a Cortex player, that is never really an effective option. I mean, the grunts are not too expensive, but they're not as cheap as a tick, so you're never going to get like a perfect trade against a Janus. It's just one of the facts you have to get used to, right? Big naval engagement down here. There is a destroyer out already for our hot pink player, hot pink barcode. and that destroyer is doing excellent work shutting down a whole lot of these units over here. Torpedo launchers, though, really changing the game, and that is going to be a solid hold for our hot pink player. In fact, I think he's probably just won the naval battle with that engagement. We check the amount of metal left over here. Ooh, 1,000 metal. That's a tremendous amount of metal left at the bottom of the ocean. Oh, plus there was a commander death over here. I didn't even notice that one, but yeah, commander went down. So that is a huge, huge metal influx for Barcode at the moment. He could definitely sweep the naval field for the time being. Getting around back here and destroying the naval economies of all the players here would be a huge boon. Because yeah, those tidal generators are producing a massive amount of energy, at the very least for Mr. Everest here. Also certainly for Trims, who also went for that hovercraft start. This is rough though. That's a lot of hovercraft shelling away at or a lot of artillery craft rather, shooting away at your units there. And Trims is looking like he's down on his last leg. Moves the commander in, actually gets some excellent D-guns there. Takes out quite a few of those tanks that weren't really microed very well. Okay, well, he shuts down a lot of that forward aggression here. Artillery, of course, is still raining down on him, but that's fine. Artillery rain is nothing to be worried about. He's got the rocket bots here. He can certainly continue to apply pressure with these artillery because they don't really have any armor in front of them. Finally, another tank hits the battlefield, and so it will be able to, at the very least, scare back some of those rocket bots, but yeah, not really going to be able to clean them up as quickly as necessary. Trim's eating up all of this. He could go for a sort of a restart over here, a refresh, by rebuilding on the low ground here. 5.2 metal extractor. I guess that's kind of the balancing on this map, is you're sort of supposed to get your metal extractor and then just use that to fight. But if the enemy gets your metal extractor, that is a tremendous advantage for them. Commander does finally explode, killing a whole lot of these units, but Splatloaf's commander... Splatloaf. I keep calling him Splatloaf. Spatloaf. I think Splatloaf sounds a bit nicer. Spatloaf is just like... anyways. Spatloaf will be eating up all of that juicy wreckage, getting the metal extractor up. That's quite nice. That's an excellent advantage for them. And it looks like because Mr. Everest was able to hold on for so long, even killing a commander right there, that is quite nice. Takes out a massive portion of Cordale's army there. Yeah, I think Mr. Everest has secured an advantage here because his team has already swept through the northern side of this map. Spatloaf increasing his economy by almost a third as he puts down this metal extractor and starts to devour that commander's body. Very, very nicely done. The wind situation on this map is actually not excellent. Yeah, wind risk of 27. That's quite bad, actually. Yeah, so wind power is not the way to go. Tidal power is definitely the best, and solar power is not too bad either. Would love to see a transition into advanced solar panels. Like I said, just get 2 or 3 constructors and have them start working on advanced solar panels together. It'll be a insignificant drain on your economy. You'll still be able to produce plenty of units. It just ends up working out quite a bit better here. Hovercraft constructors do decide to run for their lives. Zaza Binks is going to have a little bit of a backdoor step here that he's going to have to defend. In fact, all of these players are going to have to defend against a massive army coming out here. This is mostly just T1 that all that metal has been pumped into, which I'm not sure I liked. I think a tech transition would have been well in order here just to cement that victory, but also getting an advanced metal extractor down on, you know, these 5.2 metal start positions. Yeah, that certainly could have been a huge advantage. Either way, once these maces hit the front lines, which will be a while, that'll be well worth the investment. And now there's a lot of tanks moving around in the back line. What does the red team see? I wonder if they know about this. They do. They see the incursion of blue units on their back line. I wonder if they're going to be reacting in any such way. Now, orange and red need to turn around and realize that they are in a massive world of trouble here. Zaza Binks, you got to D-gun these, I think. It's really your only defensive option at the moment. So there was some sort of massive commander trade over here. And as you can see, that left 3 of them laying in the dust. Snoozing and losing, as they say. Yeah, that's pretty funny. Actually, I want to clip that real quick. That's quite nice. Big naval engagement down south here as well. Destroyers and frigates pushing far enough forward in. I really feel like this could have come a whole lot quicker here, but certainly better late than never. And that is going to be the green player effectively wiped out of this game here as their construction ships fall. A couple of res subs were included in this mix. They're repairing right now, but I think, yeah, start reclaiming all that. You're going to have a juicy, juicy surplus of metal headed back to your team. That'll be quite nice. Trimbone complaining about the starting position there. That's how Navy goes, my friend. Commander does go down here to a whole bunch of pawns, as well as all those maces that finally hit the front line for Zaza Binks, as his lane will collapse. And now the entire northern section of this map belongs to the blue team. That's a nice commanded victory here on the northern side. Red team is going to have to make some sort of immense push if he wants to, or if they want to cement some sort of victory here. Tech 2 transition coming out of Oncidium, or Oncidium. That's what I almost said, but I feel like it's Oncidium. That's quite nice. He's gonna need some fiends out very, very, very soon to deal with all these thugs that are pushing far forward here. His commander is actually in a little bit of trouble. Yeah, that commander can be routed by those thugs if they're microed correctly. If they're microed correctly, being the key delimiter there. They're inadvertently being microed correctly here. Okay. That was a nice D-gun. Took out 3 of them. They're not being microed at all, and yet they're still taking the engagement of their life. Oncidium could have just ignored those, and it wouldn't have been a problem. But instead, he managed to somehow take 91% damage on his commander there from a bunch of idle units that were just walking around, minding their own business. All the attention, of course, is back home, where Vanaja is dealing with a massive incursion of units that have walked their way all the way, or rolled their way all the way around the map here, and have ended up in his back line. Dealing with that is certainly a pain, and now you can see that the T2 is rolling out, but it is, I think it's a little too late. I don't know if we're going to be able to do enough here. Mauser having the day off, thinking about its life choices. Lightning Tank trying its best as well, but its best may not be enough. Light gunships are out, and they'll tickle those units, sure. Gucci Gucci Goo. I got your plasma. Yeah, gunships, man. I don't know what to tell you. The gunships are so sad. They really just, I mean, the T2 gunships are fine, but the T1 gunships are just so mediocre. They really just don't do enough damage. You'd probably be better off trying to get bombers to work than the gunships, and even that is a risky attempt, but you know, it might still be better. You might still be better off even so. Cavalier went for a bot lab here and did not decide to harass down his counterpart in the pits, Bradley, which is a bit of an odd decision. I would have imagined that you kind of have a little bloodlust for your opponent there, but I suppose he figures he's done enough damage. Bradley can have the day off. Luckily, the T1 solar panels will explode, which is always what you're hoping to see. It is a lot of T1 gunships. I mean, how many kills do they have? 4 or 5 kills? 5 kills between the total of them? They just don't do, oh, and then they get blown up by the commander. That hurts too. They, like, yeah, it's technically free damage, right? Like, they can't really be shot at by these tanks, these maces. Technically, they will shoot at them, and you can see, I guess they actually hit sometimes. So it's technically free damage, but they do so little on their own. It's like, is it really worth the 3% damage they do per volley? I mean, if you have, what would it be? I guess 33 of them. You'd be able to shut things down pretty quickly, but that's an immense amount of metal to put into relatively minor damage doer here. 135 metal, by the way, for each one of these gunships, compared to like 40 metal for a pawn, which does significantly more damage. Yeah, I think it's pretty good. Pretty good to avoid them, rather. Saffelbot says he likes this play. Oh, I like that play too. Very nice. Okay, whoops. Yeah, so we're going to go for some hovercraft in the backline here. You can see that we are incurring a whole bunch of hovercraft. The goons waiting to strike here. That's actually really, really nice. I think that's an excellent play. Vanaja has pushed all the way forward, abandoned his rear lab, and has just gone for a forward one. That's quite interesting. Doesn't have any energy production, so we need to see some of these constructors here going for maybe a advanced solar collector. Oh, okay, interesting. We have some resbots actually working on an advanced solar collector as we speak. Very nice. There were some Sheldons firing at him, but I don't see where they are now. Oh, there they are. Up on the hillside there. Advanced solar collector turns on. That it is actually going to give Vanaja the energy that he needs to fuel his aggression there. This is such a messy game. Okay, let me do something real quick. So this is the blue team. All of this, and then we've also got pockets of blue down here. Yeah. Okay. So that's the blue team. The red team is going to be here-ish. We've got a little bit of red team over here, and then kind of all of the southern side of the map, excluding that little foot over there. So that is the red team. So it's sort of the red team is in the middle, and the blue team is all along the outside. What a messy game. I can't even tell you who has a more significant advantage here. The blue player is completely wiped out. The entire northern side is wiped out for the red team. The hovercraft here are quite a threat. Yeah, anti-air hovercraft included, shooting down bombers with a swiftness. And yeah, that is quite the turnaround here. Now there's tanks, and quite a lot of them, rolling down the hill towards Oncidium's commander. Those Janices do get the chance to fire, and that will be the commander going up quite quickly. Artillery pieces also firing over the hills and down onto the T2 lab here, trying to whittle it down as quickly as possible. There were some Sheldon that were built, but not quite fast enough to hit those spiraling numbers here. And I don't think it will be enough to hold on. Suddenly, the southern side of the map has completely swung in the red team's favor. Okay, we are now in a split map scenario as the northern side of the map belongs to the blue team, the southern side of the map belongs to the red team, and I think it is going to be the red team's positional advantage. Yeah, I think the red team has more space overall. They kind of control this half of the map versus the blue team, which controls the other side of the map. Kind of like this, more or less. Yeah, that's an interesting switch here. Not what I was expecting at all, but yeah, not bad. He's gonna build a gauntlet over here. That's quite interesting. So Dan just called it perfectly. They just swapped sides, which is pretty hilarious if you ask me. I'd love to see this T2 lab resurrected. That'd be a cool play. Resurrect the T2 lab and then use it to pump out those T2 units. Janus is on the hillside here, going to start blowing apart whatever they can, launching their rockets into these maces, trying to shut them down as much as possible. Not quite where that mace was. It's a good effort though. Popping those maces is really, really nice. It's more effective that it's more damaging to them than it is to you to kill those maces than I mean, this doesn't apply all the time, but just at least specifically in this match, it's more efficient for you to trade out those Janisers for the maces here if it means that this vehicle, well, hovercraft army is going to be able to roll up the steps here. Now this is a massive army here, tons of medium tanks pushing through this entire side, and that is a really, really dangerous position to be in. Suddenly these tanks can roll on through the backside of the red team. They've completely switched sides, not only north to south, but now at this point the red team is all the way on the right side and the blue team is all the way on the left side. Whoa, massive explosion over here. It looks like a commander went down. I'm guessing he killed an advanced fusion reactor because that was a huge explosion. And that is going to be all she wrote for the green player who did not manage to get out of his hole. And there she goes. Gunship's whittling it away, slowly but surely here. Stormbringer's quite atrocious, especially at long range like that. Not very good whatsoever. And now there is a lot of units moving through here. There was a T2 lab that was, well, considered over here, but I think that was canceled for the better. Probably a good idea here. Now the purple players are being swapped. Okay, so the purple players swapped and went in this direction. The red and orange players went in this direction. The pink player went across here and killed his green player. The hot pink player went across here, killed his green player. The brown player just kind of built up a massive army until he was ready to steamroll through this section. And then they went up north as well. This is a, oh, and then these units continued down south here and continued to trade. So the battle lines have completely 180'd on themselves. This is such a weird battle. Such a wacky one. I couldn't tell you who's in the lead here. This is just, both teams have a massive army but don't have an excellent way of ending the game here. There's no, like, neither one has such a tremendous advantage that they can just decisively snipe all of the commanders here. There's just so many units still out on the field that everybody has some position that they're trying to get into. Now these Januses could roll up here and they could do a lot of damage. They could or they could kill all these solar collectors here. 2,600 metal in solar collectors, T1 solar collectors. Blech. Disgusting. Would love to see those die. My own personal pleasure. Light laser tower going to try and hold on against these tanks here. Not going to do a great job. Either that or the medium tank will do a tremendous job here. I think we need to see... lightning turrets aren't a bad idea. I was going to say a pop-up pitbull turret would probably be better. That pop-up Gauss turret is very, very powerful. Units also pushing through here. You know what? I've criticized the gunships quite a lot, but they have been a consistent source of damage. And with no air player for the blue team, I suppose free damage should always be taken whenever possible. So maybe I've been a little too critical of them. The fact that they've just been able to fire away at so many of these units for so long, maybe they've gotten their value out. Maybe it's possible. I'm still very hesitant, but it is possible. That's what I'll say. Barcode now stepping onto his enemy's soil. T2 constructor, but we were going for T1 defenses here. Does the orange player have the metal? He probably did, at one point anyway. Finally, the lightning turret will come up and online. Start firing away here. It's got a lot to do. And I don't know if it really has the time to do it. I don't think so. Down it goes with the fusion reactor, and that's the rest of Orange's base wiped off the map. And that is the orange player effectively killed here. Now the pink hovercraft are also sweeping through the map. Okay. Sure, why not? Yeah, the hovercraft are getting a decent trade over here. They do manage to actually snipe a whole lot of the purple economy. ABC Soup is just microing all these units to his absolute maximum. But yeah, I mean, if these units go down, he's really left with basically nothing. He's kind of got an army and nothing else to his name. And the Januses are doing their best. They actually are taking a decent trade here. Shuriken have even been produced. That's okay. I don't mind a couple of Shuriken. That's definitely way, way better than the gunships here. Gonna paralyze a lot of these tanks. Oh, that was an excellent hit from that. That was a hero right there. 4 kills to his name. 3 of which came from a single volley right there. Yeah, sure can allow these Januses all the time in the world that they need to get an excellent trade against these units. Allow the gunships to have quite a bit of time to do their own thing as well. Yeah, all right, very, very nicely done. Producing 2 different air labs to produce both those units. That's quite funny. All right, yeah, dealing with the hovercraft incursion up north here. Rocket hovers, of course, quite nice to include in here because any static structures like these labs or anything that these rockets fire on are, of course, going to take the hit, and that is a beefy one, to say the least. Hovercraft can, yep, retreat out into the water. I was going to say, I'd love to see these guys just back off here. No reason to sacrifice all of them if you can just move them into the water. And I think that's exactly what they're going to do. Now they're not really moving into the water. They kind of failed on that account. Oh, commander death over here. Didn't expect that. There were some thugs pushing down here. I figured the commander could have just degunned them, but in fact, those thugs were able to snipe that commander. Maybe the bombers helped it out a little bit there as well. But yeah, that is going to be Spatloaf's commander going down here. And it looks like the red team's tenacity is going to buy them a victory here as the blue team is swept out from behind, from the front, from everywhere. From every direction they are fought on. This is such a topsy-turvy battle. Everybody is going in every which way. Move these towards the solar panels. Kill the solar panels. You know it to be true. Search inside yourself. Find the hatred for the T1 solar panel. So fusion reactors are 5,200 and produce, hold on, I'm pulling out the calculator. Pulling out the calculator because I believe this is going to be a win for the red team, so I'm going to spare myself a second here to go for some maths, do the calculations. At a whopping 5,200 divided by 1,200, we get an efficiency of 4.3 versus 90 divided by 28. There's an efficiency of 3.2. Energy per metal. Or no, that's metal per energy? I guess I want the amount of energy produced. Either way, yeah, so lower number is better there. So yeah, the tidal generators are more efficient than the fusion generators. That's a pretty good investment. Just go for more and more of those tidal generators, and you're gonna be in a great spot here. Yeah, that number was metal per energy, which means that you spend more metal per amount of energy produced building the fusion reactors. Seaplane gunships are out. Now, seaplane gunships, those are quite a bit better. You can see that they actually do a substantial amount of damage. They will burst down tanks much, much quicker here. Oh, nice bombing run right there. Wow, that was actually a huge bombing run. Killed a whole bunch of tanks with that. Very nicely done. I do believe those seaplane gunships are going to be more than enough to clean up all the rest of this. These stouts over here have found themselves in an engagement with a couple of these thugs here. Not bad whatsoever. But yeah, as soon as these gunships get on top of that tank army, they're going to have a field day ravaging all that's left there. This is what the red team sees. Vision is very odd on this map. You don't have a lot of it. It's very hard to find the right vision here. This is the major army for Spatloaf, as he is now ravaging Cordale's base. Shuts down all of his advanced fusion reactors and all of his energy converters, all that good stuff, and is now going to be, maneuvering his army to do as much damage as possible here. Trying to hold on in this game, but it is quickly becoming, quite the task. The red team has officially cleared out this entire northern area. Look at that wreckage. That's just beautiful, isn't it? All those T1 solar panels reduced to rubble. That's what we like to see right there. Vanaja clawing himself back into this game, coming within an inch of his life and managing to pull back from the brink of death in order to get back into this game. And it looks like the blue team will finally resign as those bombers... Oh, maybe the bombers snipe the commander. That's also another possibility. But either way, the red team will clutch up the victory here and take a win home on this wild match. That was quite a weird one. And I hope that I get to see some more matches on this map because it is a really fun one. Hope you enjoyed this one too. Let me know down below in the comment section. Hit the like button while you're down there. And I will see you in the very next video. Hope you have a great rest of your day.